Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the tactic test. It's been a while that I did the tactic test show. It's me again, International Master Sopiko Guramishvili, here for you on Chess 24. As you can see, I am back to Holland. I'm home now. You can probably see my favorite frame in this room. Do more of what makes you happy, and I completely agree with that. And oh, sorry. Today we're going to have the tactic test, which is the show where I'm solving the puzzles and I'm solving the tactics, and I show you my ideas. I show you how I think, how I solve them, what kind of methods I use. Sometimes it's very difficult, so I need your help. You could of course participate, and you should definitely participate while I'm solving the puzzles. You should also think about the position, and afterwards, the last 15 minutes, I'm going to have the question and answer show. So I am leaving this 15 minutes for your questions, whatever you're interested in. You have to ask. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel free to ask whatever you'd like, and I'll try to take my time and take your questions and answer all of your questions. I'm sorry for the delay. I had a bit of technical problems, but I think that it's solved. I hope that the stream is good. I hope you see me well, and we will shortly, very shortly, go to the puzzles once I read that everything is fine and all is going good. I see a lot of people already in chat. Hello everybody, welcome to the tactic test, and we will very shortly start the puzzles. If you don't know how it works, you should go definitely to Chess24 website, push the learn button there and start the tactic test. And there you will have opportunity to solve the tactics. But if you're not a premium member, then you're losing a lot, because you cannot train your tactics, you cannot watch the videos, you cannot watch the series. So be sure you're a premium member, and you will have lots of benefits from it. All right, so let's get started, and let me see. I'm going to Chess24. I am going to choose the learn button, as I told you, and the tactic test. We will very, very shortly have the first puzzle, and I think there we are. Here is the very, very first puzzle, and let me show it to you. Okay. I read that everything is fine, so we can start the puzzles and we can see what's going on in this position. I think that I've seen these before. I've seen this tactic before, and the idea, if I remember correctly, was to mate mate Black's king. How are we going to do that? First of all, knight f5 check comes to the mind, because if king goes to f8, if to e8, then rook d8 is mate. If king f8, then rook d8, bishop e8, knight d6 is just completely winning. Knight f5, ef should be calculated. E takes f6, king f8, rook d8, bishop e8, and if rook e1, then bishop e5. Maybe there is something easier. Let's say knight f5, e takes f5, e takes f5, and king f8, I have rook c6. And after rook c6, there is rook d8 mate. So I think that knight f5 is the correct move. Then we take on f6, king f8, and now if we go rook d8, there is bishop e8. That's why we have to take the bishop, because we have another rook on d1, and then we will give the mate like this. I'd like to stop after every puzzle and explain you what is going on in the position, and the methods I'm using and how to solve these type of puzzles. First of all, when we look at the position, we have to know how's the material balance. We have extra pieces or extra pawns, or we're pawn or piece down. We definitely need to know this. Another important thing is the king's situation. If you feel that there is mating net, then first things that comes to your mind is checks and sacrifices. And having this mating net in mind means that you have to solve many mating positions, like for example mating 2, mating 3, mating 1. All of these creates a base in your mind, and then you kind of see the idea. Maybe it's not right now, but you see the idea what kind of mate you can put in this position. The move knight f5 is directly connected to the mating net, because first of all we cannot take e takes f6, king takes f6, then black would definitely have an advantage, 2 bishops and open files for the rooks. It's just very bad for black. So for white. So knight f5, e takes f5. We see that if king goes to f8, unfortunately here I'm not allowed to make the moves, but if king f8, rook d8 and bishop goes to e8, then we have knight d6. I hope that you can imagine the position and keep the board and pieces in your mind when I try to calculate the lines. E takes f5, e takes f6, king f8, rook c6. This is an important moment, because if we play rook d8, then bishop e8 is there, which means that we have to kill the defender. We have to eliminate all black defense, and then after rook c6, black doesn't have any defense against rook d8 or rook c5. It's going to be a very bad position, and it's just lost. Let's continue and let's see what is the next puzzle about. As I told you, first thing that we're doing is we're looking at the material. Second is the king's position. If there are positions where I see directly mating net, or I see directly something, and there are positions where it's not so clear for me, and then I try to analyze the position. For example, in this one I don't see the direct threat. I still need to think about the position, and I need to know the ideas. That's why I will start by analyzing the material now. The material is we're pawn down, but this pawn is not so important because it is doubled pawn, and what weakness I see in black's positions is the king. It's very weak because many squares and many files are weak around him. And I also see that we have a very good passed pawn, c6 pawn, and an important open file, d file, which might give me sometimes the ideas of sacrifices like rook d7 or bishop h6 or knight f5, this kind of ideas. If I don't have the winning move directly, then I am starting to calculate the candidate moves. And I think that it is very helpful to calculate the candidate moves, because then you see whole board, you see all ideas, and you're all into the position. For example, what kind of candidate moves can we have here? I think that bishop h6 can be a candidate move because black either has to go king f7 or take the bishop. Knight f5 can be the candidate move, though I don't know what does it give. And maybe another candidate move. Rook d7 cannot really be the candidate move. I'm very interested in knight f5 because after knight f5, if black takes, I can sacrifice another bishop with bishop h6, king h6, queen f8, and queen g7 is there. So it's not very good for me. What about bishop f6? Also not that great, I guess. So I really need now to think how to solve this problem. Another thing is that I would normally pay attention to rook d6 because the defense of the e5 pawn, queen defense the pawn on e5 is super important. If there was no queen on c7 and I had rook d6, then queen e5 would be mate right away. What is the problem with rook d6? Rook d6, the knight is hanging, so obviously bishop e7, queen e5. Now king f8 is not a move because queen h8 is there, king g8 and king f7 is left. Most sensible, I guess, is king to g8 because king f7, queen e6 probably wins, queen e6, king f8 and bishop h6. And if king g8, I can still play queen e6, bishop f7 and queen e7. Then I will have extra pawn, but I'm not sure that this is the solution. So I have to be very, very careful. I don't see any other sensible moves though, so definitely in the game I would try to go rook d6, bishop e7, queen e5, king g8. Or I can use many ideas, rook d6, bishop e7, and what about rook d7? Or that's too creative. Probably that's too creative because after rook d7, queen d7 is there, bishop d7 is there, so that's too creative. Okay, rook d6, bishop e7, queen e5, king g8. Afterwards, queen e6, bishop f7, queen e7, bishop e7, and if bishop a2, simple c7 wins because rook d8 is there, and if rook c8, I don't think it's so easy to win this position. But as I said, I don't see any other good options. Let's say bishop h6 is met with king h6 and later queen g7 is there. Knight f5 is met with e takes f5 or g takes f5. So I would try to go rook d6. Yeah, that's the move. Queen, oh, not queen e5. Rook d7. Rook d7 is the move, and I had it as a candidate move, but the position is solved by rook d7, queen e5, king g8, and c takes d5. Although I think that it is important to realize that after bishop d7, there is no defense after queen e7, king g8, and bishop f6 or bishop h6 is the mate. Why I made mistake in this position is because my line with queen e5, king g8, queen e6, and bishop f7 was also satisfying me, but of course I did not really feel that this is the moment to sacrifice everything, to go all in. As I mentioned, I would probably go in the game queen c7, rook d6, bishop e7, and queen e5 because if I don't have time, then it's probably very also winning. I would say that it's also a big advantage. But rook d7 wins on the spot, and of course when you are solving the puzzle you should take more time to think of all possibilities. Once again, candidate moves. I did see the rook d7 move, but I did not evaluate it correctly, thinking that even queen d7 is there, and I stopped my calculation there, not seeing queen e5. That's a very common mistake when you see something and after one move you stop. But once you solve a lot of puzzles, then you have a feeling, you have an instinct, and you should ask yourself, maybe this is the moment where I should calculate one more move. Always when you're in front of important decision and when you're facing a critical line and you're about to play the move, always recheck the line and calculate one move ahead before what you've calculated. If you calculated 5 moves, try your best to foresee the 6th move. That was my mistake, very common mistake, and I think that tactic test is a great opportunity for you guys to learn on my mistakes and not to do the same mistakes in your games. It was very pretty puzzle, I like it very much. Queen c7, rook d6, forcing black to take the e7 knight because e5 is hanging, and after bishop e7, rook d7 is a very nice motive. You have to take the rook because queen e7 is there otherwise, and bishop d7 would not work because of queen e7, king g8, and once again I will repeat myself with bishop f6 or bishop h6. It's a mate on g7. It was a very beautiful one, so let's get to another one, and another one is a hedgehog structure. I don't know many tactical motives here. Usually black is trying to do the breakthrough either in the center or on the queen side with b5 or d5. And what is white trying to do is get all the space in the center, try to control both breakthroughs with b5 and d5. And sometimes there are ideas where white starts to push the g-pawn, like g4, g5. But I think this is the puzzle, so we have to see if there is something wrong with this position. The b6 pawn was hanging, so black's last move was rook b8, which gives an idea that we have these knights on a4 and b3 very nicely standing, looking at b6 and a5 square. If we take knight b6, and knight a5, what's going to happen? The queen doesn't have so many moves, so queen c8 would lose to bishop b6, and queen a7 would be it would be a really terrible pin. We for sure have to continue. c5 can be the move, I think. D takes c5, d takes c5. Now cb6 is a huge threat. If let's say knight goes somewhere to a4, I might go c6, and knight b6 back. Knight b6 back. This is definitely a winning position because all black's pieces are in danger. If you see the last position of my calculation, then the knight is on b6, the bishop is on a8, I have pawn on c6, and I don't want to play rook b1 directly because of rook c6 is not there, my knight is on a5, so rook b1 wins there. I would go knight b6, knight a5, as I explained, queen c8 would lose to bishop b6. Now I would go c5, take, knight has to go, c6, and after knight b6, rook b1 is winning. What was the point of this position is that probably black lost lots of tempos, regrouping, and did not take his time to prepare breakthrough in the center. That's why white played very sensibly and had a pressure on queen side. Before rook b8, now it's clear that the b6 pawn is hanging. Maybe b5 was another opportunity, but once again you allow knight a5. Anyway, rook b8, this is the idea that regrouping does not mean that you have to squeeze all your pieces on the queen side or somewhere else. With this position, knight b6 and knight a5, we see that how poor the queen and big material can be against passed pawn. Let's say queen a7, c5, and c6. This is a perfect, completely perfect position, showing the power of the pawn on c6 and of strong pieces. Yes, we sacrificed the piece, but we are getting it back because knight b6 is the kind of the only move to protect the queen on a7, and we have rook b1, one more pressure on the knight, and this knight is lost. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's take a look at another one, and here I think that something should be wrong with the queen, because after queen f6, it's a very bad move. As you can see, there is no moves, g6, h6, f5, f4, every square is controlled by white. So I think that after bishop g5, queen f3, and queen d2, white is winning the queen here. Usually it's the very common tactic that queen f6, you want to put a trap for your opponent. Oh, you're thinking like, oh my god, he should play bishop g5, and then you think that you're winning the piece with bishop f3. Obviously queen f3 would be bad because queen g5 is winning the piece, but queen d2, a very nasty move, defending the bishop on g5, and also this bishop on f3 is in danger. But most importantly is that the queen on f6 is trapped. I think the best defense though would be to play bishop f4 here. It is not mentioned. Probably the idea is that after queen d4 there is a check and we are winning the queen, but probably the best defense is to play bishop f4. If we take on f6, then queen is lost. We have to take on f4. Queen f4, bishop f4. Bishop has to go back, and bishop c7 is winning for white. All right, let's go to another puzzle, and here already I see that there is some material imbalance in the position. We are queen down, but this is a puzzle, so the position tells that we have to win the queen somehow. How to win the queen? We can sacrifice the rook in such moments where we can either get a fork, or if he doesn't take it, then it would be mate next move. And why I have this idea is because we have an extra pawn. So the pawn ending would be completely winning if we trade this rook and the knight into the queen on d7. Okay, we have the ideas, but how to win it, how to win this position. It's probably super tough. I'm interested to see what is this rook d4 about, because black would be in kind of Zugzwang. Wherever the queen goes, the knight is placed on d5 so well that it can give a check and win the queen. So let's say I play rook d4 with the idea that I want to wait what black wants to do. If queen e6, knight f4 wins. If queen f5, knight e3 wins. Queen g4 is not there. Queen h3, knight f4 wins again. And there is simply on white squares, black queen can only go to white squares where we win the queen. It's beautiful. It's super beautiful puzzle. I really, really love it because it shows how beautiful chess can be. Take a look at this once again. Rook d4. If it is white's move, we don't have any big threat. Okay, maybe our threat we could play maybe move like d3 because we still have a tempo, but it is black's move, and black is in Zugzwang. There is no f pawn moves because then we will take with e pawn. There is no b pawn move because then we will take with a pawn, and queen cannot move. That's beautiful. That's super beautiful. And actually, I have to say that we have a threat. If f5, we would not take on f6, but we would play if f5. Knight f4 and queen d4 runs into knight e6. And if b pawn moves, then we would go knight b4 and queen d4, knight c6 wins. Unfortunately, I cannot show how beautiful this position is. I cannot make the moves, but definitely there is a little button on under the board, and you can analyze the puzzle, where you see the computer evaluation as well, and where you make all the moves you were wondering about. So that's a great feature in this Chess 24 tactic, solving the tactics. So after f5 and b5, it's important to know that there is c6 and e6 squares which are weak. So if f pawn moves, then we go knight f4 and use the fork with knight e6. And if b pawn moves, then we go knight b4 and use the fork with knight c6. Beautiful. Let's go. Let's see another one. And another one is I am playing with black pieces. Knight g3 was the move. Okay, so my pawn is on f2 and I can easily queen. The idea is that I don't want to get, if I queen, let's say knight f1, then I'm not in time probably to stop this pawn and win the h4 pawn. What can I do? I have to win the knight. How to win the knight? Let's see. For example, knight e4 is an option. After knight e4, white gives a check, knight f1, king e2, knight h2. This I don't like. What else? Let's say I go king f3. How does he want to defend from king f3? It's tiny bit, I don't see it. King f3, next move is king g3, so I guess this is winning, isn't it? King f4. Oh, I completely forgot about this pawn. Okay, I somehow could not imagine, because I always see the position from white's side, and I didn't see that I was playing with black. So actually, yes, I am going there with f1 with this pawn, but this guy is also on a6 and going here on a7. And the difference, of course, with between knight g3, king f3 and king f4 is that after king f3, for example, white can play knight f1. Knight f1 I have to take, and then a7. And I still need one move to play knight d2, and afterwards a8 is with check. So let's say king f4, a7, and king g3, a8 and f1, I am having a piece. That is the difference between these two moves. Okay, let's see another puzzle, and another puzzle is I'm playing with black pieces. The position materially is I have an exchange, and I don't like the queen's position on c5, so maybe it gives me something, some kind of ideas. What can I play? Many candidate moves. Rook f4. I wanted to play rook d5, but it's bad idea because of queen f8. Rook d2, it's not an option because bishop d2 is there. What else we can try? So rook f4, king g3, the idea might be that if I take rook f4, then this guy is also hanging on d8. Let's say rook f4, king g3 might be good for me because I give a check on d3, king f4, g5, king e4 doesn't really look good for me. Okay, how else I can use the situation of the queen? Tough to use. Let's say if it was white's move, he would want to take on d8 and on queen a2 play rook e2. So that's why rook e1 was played and not bishop d8. So that I don't take on a2. Okay, how to use the queen's position, or should I use it at all or not? That's also the question. Let's start from candidate moves. I don't have any ideas, so I would start from candidate moves. And in candidate moves, there are of course some ideas which are popping up in your mind. Let's see, what can be the candidate moves? Rook f4 is king g3, but still a candidate move. Um, queen can go nowhere. Queen a5 is not a candidate move. Some kind of creative move like rook d2 or rook d5, probably also not a big candidate move. And of course the normal rook move, let's say, I don't know, rook d6. Rook d6 can be met with rook e6. That can be, of course, the idea. For example, this can be very, like if I play rook d6, rook e6, rook e6, queen f8, I have to go to d7. No, d7 is queen d8 mate. I have to go to b7, then queen f7. There is no rook d7, king a8, then king f8 again. So it is perpetual check. Definitely we don't want to allow perpetual check, which means that we have to seek for something more. And what is something more in this position? I still think that I have to calculate the rook f4 more precisely, because it's not like I am losing something, a piece or something there. So let's say rook f4, king goes to g3. Otherwise there is no point. If king goes to g1, I can simply go, I don't know, any move like rook e8. Rook e8 probably would be same problem. Rook e6 and queen f8. But I can give this rook, so I can play something else. Maybe I can even play e5 with the idea of queen a2, but then bishop d8 is there. Anyway, I think the main problem is that after rook f4, king g3 is there. Tough. It's very, very tough. It's a tough one because there is a big threat, bishop d8, and I have to somehow avoid it. I have to do something about it. I don't know, what do you guys think? What kind of move candidates would you have in this position? Unfortunately, right now I'm not able to look at the chat, but I'll definitely take a look once the puzzle is over. Let's see who was the first to solve this puzzle. Okay, I need some idea. I need, before I play, I need some idea. Before I play any move, even if it's not correct, I need an idea behind it. And what can be the idea behind it? To allow bishop d8 is super risky. I will still stick to rook f4, king g3. And Unfortunately, I cannot play something like g5 because bishop d8, queen a2 is met with queen c6. If there is no queen a2 with check, I cannot do much. Not an easy one. Definitely not an easy one. Oh, but wait a minute. Rook f4, king g3, rook f5. Isn't it winning? Oh. Was it that easy? Oh my god. Yeah, sometimes you can see that even in these type of easy moves are so difficult to see, because I was always thinking that you have to use the queen's situation because the bishop is hanging on a5, and yeah, it's even it's even embarrassing that I took so much time to solve this puzzle. The backward moves are very difficult. Sometimes the move with backward with knight, the move with rook, you don't think that you want to get back. You think that you want to get forward, and you have to get into white's king. My mistake that I took so much time was that I was thinking about the king. I was thinking like, yeah, maybe I have to give this rook and play queen a2. Maybe I have to do a mating that, but of course not. It's an easy one, and rook f5 was there. Okay, let's get to another one, and here definitely should be the mate, because the king's position is such a disaster. It's a really really awful. Okay, how can I use it? So I guess rook c2 was played. For what? Well, first idea that comes to my mind is give a check on h3, king g1, and play rook e5. I want rook g5, so only defense is knight e4. And after knight e4, I can play rook h5, but then knight f6 is there. Okay. Then knight e4, rook e4, bishop e4 wouldn't work that great for me. Another thing is that what if I play like rook e2? The idea is simple. Bishop e2, I want queen h1 mate. Knight e2, let's say, looks most normal. Queen h3, king g1, and queen f3. But then knight f4 is there, so there is no mate on g2. Oh, sorry. What can be... How can I win this position? So only defense I see is that after queen h3 there is king g1 and rook e5, knight e4. What about rook e5 first, knight e4, bishop e4, rook e4, bishop e4, and rook e8? Then white has the same problem. I want to give a check and play rook e5. Is that too slow? This is all what I'm wondering. I guess not. So let's try rook e5. No, it's not correct. And yeah, thought of this rook e3 move, but I didn't really understand what was the idea. On f takes e5, e3. What do I want? Queen h3, king g1 is there. Queen g3 I don't have. So the idea is that if you take it, knight h3 and queen g1 is... I don't get it. I don't get one thing why I couldn't play knight h3. Okay, I understand. I couldn't play knight h3 with the idea of queen g1 because of e3, and then white king has an escape, king e2. So that's why we play rook e3. Actually, this puzzle I did it not nicely because yes, I saw this rook e5 with queen h3. Probably it's also winning. I'll definitely take a look at this. Here's the little button, what I was mentioning, and analyze the puzzle. So I'll definitely go for analyzing the puzzle. Just give me a little time and we will see as well the puzzle. And of course I'm gonna take a look after this puzzle to the chat, and we will have a question and answer. So make sure that if you have any questions you ask, feel free to ask, and if not, then I will just continue solving the puzzles. All right, so let's see, analyze the puzzle. I just want to know if my rook e5 was correct. So let me take a look at this position, and there we go. I hope it works, and here we are. Okay, yeah, it's there. So what I wanted to say is, okay, let me flip the board. We had it like this, and what I wanted to say is that if I play queen h3 after rook c2, queen h3, king g1, rook e5, and this one, is it winning or not with rook e8? Actually, I wanted to play rook e5 directly, so this was my intention, yes. And actually it's also winning. Rook takes, and rook e8. It's also winning, just there is queen c3 defense, and after rook e4, queen g3 or f3, queen f3 is there. f5, definitely winning position. But after rook e5, knight e4, there is another winning move probably, which is rook e8, and now queen c3 wouldn't work because of knight h3, and e3 would run into rook e4, bishop e4, and rook e4 once again. Yeah, we're having queen g1 and queen f2 afterwards, so it looks very much winning. But after knight e4, it's much easier to play this brilliant move, rook e3. The idea is that we couldn't play knight h3 because of e3 and king e2, and here we don't have queen f2 because the queen is on e1. So we want to play rook e3. Now our idea is rook f3. So if something happens like knight d5 or something, then rook f3, e takes f3, and queen h1 is made. That's why f takes e5, e3 was played, knight h3. Now we want queen g1 and there is no defense. Queen g1, queen g3, take, and there is queen f2 mate anyway, or queen g1 mate anyway. Knight d5 could be played, but after knight d5 there is rook f3, knight f6, and king h8, e takes f6, and queen g2 or queen h1 mate. Beautiful, beautiful puzzles we had today. I hope you enjoyed it. And now let me take a look at the chat and see if you have some questions. I will wait for the questions, and meanwhile I will take a look what you guys were saying and if you were solving the puzzles with me. Very good. I see that lots of you were faster than me solving the rook f4, rook f5, and definitely it was a very easy one, but sometimes, as I explained, backward moves are not that easy to see. And yeah, okay, there are no questions, I guess. And then I will just solve a bit more puzzles, and I will yep, okay. If anytime any question is welcome, so make sure that you ask something if you'd like to. If not, I'll just go back to the puzzles and we'll solve few more puzzles. Let's see what kind of puzzles we will have now. There is it. Okay. I am playing with black pieces, so I have to win this one with black, and again there is a king problem, a mate problem for white. The material is that we are piece down, that's important to know, and I think that queen f2 type of moves can be a big problem for white. Queen f2 is definitely a candidate move. Queen g3 is candidate move as well, and bishop e4 as well. Let's take a look at queen f2. Queen f2, king f2, and bishop e4. Now, if black goes king g1, do we have the mate or not? Not really. There's no mate for now. Then queen f2 is not that great. What about bishop e6? Backward move, but we want bishop f2, queen f2 we want, and we want to win this queen on b3. I think that's it. I think that's the solution. Bishop e6, yeah, rook h2, and we just take the queen. Okay, now the bishop backward move was not that difficult. Let's see, one more puzzle, and then it would be time to say goodbye to you and wish you a great evening. 2 queens on the board. Oh my god, what's happening? Okay. 2 queens, that's a lot. Rook b7 is of course the first move that comes to my mind, and I think that should be the move. Rook b7, king a8, rook a7, king a7, queen b6, king a8. Do we have perpetual or not? Maybe we don't have perpetual. What is going on? What is the material situation? If I take the queen, I'll be in trouble because my queen is lost. If I give a check and then take the queen, also in trouble because then I will be rook down, exchange down. This is why I think rook b7 is kind of the only move. And afterwards it's tough to say what is the move. Rook g2 not as well because queen g2 is there. I cannot move the queen because queen b1 is there. No stalemate ideas as well. Ooh, it's going to be a tough one. Only thing that I see is rook b7, king a8, and I cannot play any knight e4 or knight f3, unfortunately, because of queen d1. Queen d1 is a huge threat. So we have to be desperate here, I think. Rook b7, king a8, rook a7, king a7, we have queen c7 check, but queen c7, queen b7 is there, so queen b6, king a8, queen a6, king b8, queen b6, queen b7. Okay, queen d6, king c8. I don't see the perpetual. Oh, maybe I see. Maybe queen a6, queen b7 is there. Queen e6, king b7, queen d7. Yeah, it should be perpetual. It should be perpetual like this. Here check, I go check here, then I give a check from d6. Here it's important not to give queen a6 because queen b7 is there, but queen e6, we have queen e6, and king d8 would be met with queen d6. Is a very nice position because these pawns on c5 and c4, they are so strong. King d8, then queen d6 would be there, and if king goes to c7 or b7, we always have queen e7, queen d7, and check on the a4, e8 diagonal. Ah, very good one, beautiful one. I think that today we had a very beautiful puzzles, and I'm really happy that I was able to show you something, make mistakes so you can learn on my mistakes, and hopefully you enjoyed it as well. We learned something today, and of course I will be back next Thursday with Banter Blitz, so make sure you solve lots of puzzles to play against Miss Tactics or me, Sopiko, and we'll see each other on next Thursday. Wish you a very nice evening. Good night. Bye bye.